folks! Welcome to the PolyChampions YouTube. This is an Imperius Tiny Map replay review from the Bullet Tournament. Reaper shows us how he overcomes a bad spawn, snatches 2 villages out of his opponent's grasp, but finally, how a mistake in attack order cost him the game. This game was also broadcast live. The link to the live recording with commentary and the link to the replay is in the description. Let's review the game.
My name is Reaper. I've been playing on PolyChamps for close to around a year now, and I am on Team Kraken. Woohoo! In this game, I had a game against Chris, my team leader actually of Kraken. It was an Imperius mirror. I am, the dark blue Imperius, and Chris is the teal / aqua Imperius. I spawn with a bunch of mountains. I'm not a huge fan of it. It seems like my center access is being immediately blocked by these mountains, and with Imperius as well, if there is an empty tile, like this empty tile next to this fruit, it means there's like no village in the surrounding 8 tiles. So I know there's no village, over to the east here. So I know that my, options are either I gotta go to the corner, which isn't, too great, or I have to, go to the center, which, it doesn't look like there's, too many resource indicators other than the, animal there. So I'm not a huge fan of my spawn. But we look at Chris, and
It's
well,
fantastic! Oh my
Chris
gosh.
has a 6 fruit spawn. My man clearly prayed to Mijuon for this spawn, because this spawn is absolutely insane. I didn't know this at the time, but yeah, no, his spawn is absolutely incredible.
Right? I
And
mean, your
yeah.
spawn is, I'll be honest, your spawn is garbage and his spawn is like gold. We were even wondering, like, are you going to have to take climbing? There's so many mountains.
Yeah, I was actually debating climbing, but I was like, ah, man, I just can't. Um, but so yeah, we'll see what Chris does here. He takes a workshop, and he moves towards this edge here up in the north. My only real move is to move west here.
Yeah, you
Have
had
a
no
chance at either
choice.
a village.
No.
Yeah, either to maybe find a village in the center or in this corner. Um, I do end up having to take workshop here. No explorer for me. And it looks like Chris finds his first village fairly quickly. Um, and he does train a second warrior. Um, I also have trained a second warrior, and my first warrior here decides to go for the center. My thought process was with this spawn, I need some way to kind of get my foot in the door, so to speak, in terms of expansion. And I feel like if I expanded to this, to the corner, this very south corner first, that I wouldn't really have, any control over the center, or maybe I would be completely locked out of the west. So um, I take a chance here and go for the center. Um, I do train the third warrior here. Chris, he obviously steps on his first village, and he can upgrade his capital with that, incredible 6 root spawn. Um, he does end up getting stars, back from it, and he does train a third warrior as well. Um, I end up stepping on that center village, and I see I have 3 fruit, which is, I'm delighted. But I also see I have a lot of forest, so thinking maybe I can go forestry later, potentially giant or something. Um, and it looks like I do end up finding a village down in the south corner. It's not directly in the south, but it's a little closer to my center village, which I'm a little bit relieved of. Makes it if I do end up getting like riding or roads later on, that I can get to my center a little bit quicker, rather than if it was directly in this south corner. Yeah, so I end up finding that south village immediately. Chris ends up taking riding here. And I'm assuming, what does he do here? Ends up getting a workshop in his C2. He does not end up getting a rider in his capital, um, which is I find that kind of I don't know, curious, because I always like to, if I do get writing, I always like to try and delay the upgrade in my C2. Um, but we'll see. I do end up, of course, getting writing, because I know I will need to focus on expansion. Um, And I do end up getting an Explorer in my C2 just because it is a center village, and they can, show me a lot about the position.
And at this
Um,
point, you
and
still
this,
don't know where Chris is. You haven't met or anything.
nope,
But that,
nope. So
even though that explorer didn't show you Chris, it showed you there's nothing in the west, right?
yeah, this Explorer showed me a terrorizing future. That I have no villages. That my only possible villages are these two, and I will have to probably, play for this village if he's not in the
Yeah.
north, right?
Yeah.
Um, so like a daunting realization to me, kind of, how I'm like, oh no, these might be the only two villages I get this game. Because this village is very, very far away from me. Not to mention, I do also see a ruin over there, but also there's a ruin next to that village as well, and I don't really want Chris getting that either. So, I was a little bit disturbed by that. Um, and so Chris, does end up finding my borders, and he does meet me and trains two riders this turn. And so I end up meeting Chris as well, um, and I end up killing his warrior here. Just because I want to maybe see, if maybe a city's over here. And of course, I don't see his borders, and I do end up getting roads, pre-capture of my C3 down here in the south. And so here I have to make an interesting decision, actually. I was debating whether I want to get a rider in this center village or get a warrior, and I opt to get a warrior because I don't want, an early siege to happen because I can't really, support all that. So I go for the safe warrior. I probably should have gone for the rider, but I didn't have vision at the time of, Chris's position. So um, and Chris does end up getting roads. Um, it makes a brutal assault on my units. Um, Kills two of my warriors and is able to get onto the ruin. Also trains another rider,
Yeah.
being very, very aggressive, kind of like locking me in a box, it feels like. And I'm like, oh no. It looks like I'm kind of like stuck in this south corner because it looks like he has like a very good control over, this north corner. Um, and so, I like these pesky little warriors are just in the way, and so I was getting a little annoyed by them. So I had to find a way to deal with them. So I ended up training two warriors, and I ended up getting a rider in my back city, just to try and handle these pesky little warriors. And he ends up getting a really nice bounce onto the village here. Very good play by him.
Yeah.
I mean, he does kill my warrior here, and there. So I can't actually deal with that warrior quite yet, unless I want to use my rider down in my south city. So he's just like slaughtering my units, and at this point, I'm like, he's gonna have the killer monument, in no time, and that's like very concerning to me. Yep, and he ends up getting a pop ruin, which is like probably my worst nightmare in this position, because and I see him like get border growth, and my boots start shaking a little bit, because that is absolutely terrifying, because I am not ready to deal with a giant.
Yeah. Even though you
Um,
couldn't see his capital, you saw the border expansion and you're like, oh,
hmm
oh, you're like, a
Yeah,
giant is coming. Oh no.
yeah. So yeah, I end up dealing with these warriors, and I'm like, oh my goodness, finally they're gone. They're gone. I can move. Um, and I end up being a little aggressive here with this, just hitting his wire, riders and kind of weakening his units. Maybe trying to maybe have a play on this west village. I do have, quite a few units I can kind of road this rider or road this warrior to it. So, I mean, the village isn't entirely gone, but he is able to capture it. Um, and he ends up stepping off, which I found really
Yeah.
weird. I thought he was going to capture it. Um, but
Yeah.
he
And
ends
if
up
he,
stepping off to kill a warrior. But he also goes for this interesting climbing play, and goes for the ruin there, which I have no idea is there. And so I'm like, okay, well, it looks like he's kind of backing off a little bit. So
yeah,
I'm like,
this is
well, this
your
is kind of my
chance.
time to
This is your
my
chance.
time my time to see. And I see that he doesn't have a giant yet, which was, like, ooh, thank God. Because he does have roads, so it'll be, at my capital in like, 2 turns if he did have one. I do end up upgrading my South City finally and getting a workshop. And I kind of spaced my units out, slightly defensively. I was thinking of maybe going climbing and getting this rune. Instead, I'm just training warriors, just, trying to get a decent hold on my position. And Chris gets a star ruin and gets hunting and forestry.
Wow.
If we look at my vision real quick, I do see that he does get this north village though, which I was not very happy to see. Um, and so he does end up, getting that very, very lucky rune. And he does look like he chops a lot to get this giant, but he does get it. And I do go for an aggressive play on my turn here to try and maybe get these villages. And I'm thinking, okay, well, he can't knock me off both, surely. Like at best, maybe he's gonna probably knock me off this north one, but
Yeah.
Um, so I kind of moving my units in, um, and I see he chops all of the forest here, which this is a tactic used by a lot of pro players. Is that
Sabotage.
sabotaging those cities, because you definitely don't want to give your opponent resources to pop a giant there if you can obviously chop those trees and get extra stars for yourself before your opponent can actually use that city. So a very good play on his part. So yeah, no, I do actually end up holding both of these villages.
Wow, you
Um,
did not expect that. You thought you'd be able to keep
oh yeah,
one,
no,
maybe one,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, no, and so I was like very happy to see this, and I was like, oh, finally, um, you know, I finally have a lot more breathing room. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I have both of these villages. I just need to like secure them, get some giants going, and I can probably win. Um, and so I'm forced to be a little bit aggressive here though, because he does. It looks like he is like moving units out of his cities here with warriors and riders and stuff. So um, does play cautiously a little bit. I get some upgrades in. Upgrading my South City, getting a workshop over there. Um, and I see that he has yet another giant. And my thought process is, well, looks like I won't be holding one of these villages for very long. Easy come, easy go. And so, but I was lucky to even get, both of them in the first place. So, not really surprising to me that I'm probably going to end up losing one. He does end up sieging that north one. Um, he does kill quite a few of my units this turn. And I'm wondering how close he is to killer. He's 7 out of 10. He could get it probably, any turn now. Um, and so he does train 2 more riders. And I have vision on, both of his cities now, so I can see everything he's training, which is very nice. Being able to see on it, what units your opponent has. Um, and so, and my thought process here was I am sacrificing a warrior. His giant over here is kind of scary. It's approaching my capital at a rapid rate, climbing
And
across those mountains with that
mountains.
defense bonus as well,
Yes, the defense
which makes
game.
it even harder to kill.
Yes.
Um, so I'm like, yeah, I'm very threatened by this giant. I'm like, oh no, please, for the love of God, I just need that giant to go away, go away. Uh, I need some breathing room, please. I just got some villages. Leave me alone. Um,
He's
and
coming for
so
you. He's coming for
I
you.
know. So I do end up unsieging that north village, and I grew up hunting myself here, just to get a nice upgrade on that center city.
You
Um,
get a
and I
workshop in the
do
north?
get
Yeah.
it, I get a workshop up north, and I train a few more warriors. Because at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm probably just gonna need to like run warriors into his giant. Like he's gonna get killer from it, but like I need to protect my capital. So that's why I'm like rapidly training warriors at this rate. Um, and he roads both of his giants next to my 2 main cities. Oh boy, the heat is on, and I'm gonna get burned by these giants. Is
Yes.
what's gonna happen here. Um, and so he ends up killing a few more of my units. Um, and we're just kind of like trading units back and forth here. I get a veteran rider, which is very nice. We're able to restore the health there.
How are you going to
Um,
stop those giants? Oh, you're going to get
So
your
I end up getting
own.
I get my own power monument. Yeah, that's right. I get my own gate of power and am able to pop my first giant on my capital just in time. And I sacrifice a few units into Chris's giant here. It's not enough to like stop him or anything. Um, But I do make sure to save plenty of stars for next turn to, you know, giant pop him off of that city. And he hits my giant. Ends up getting free spirit and chivalry.
Interesting. He's going for
So
knights.
and so here he tried blocking my resources, so I couldn't make a giant here.
Right.
But I still had a giant anyways. But I still like killed those units because, you know, less units for Chris is a win for me. So I end up killing them. And I end up getting, you know, forestry and being able to pop them off without using my Park of Fortune quite yet. And yeah, I have to chop one up here just to train a unit there. But you know, I'm liking my position now. You know, I've stabilized a
Yes.
little bit. I have 2 giants. You know, I have quite a few units. I have a lot more cities in them. If he sent a giant up to these north cities, I would have had no chance of like keeping them. But he ends up going for a very aggressive play. You know, trying to go for my capital and my main, you know,
Yeah.
city. But it ends up kind of, you know, burning him, so to speak. And he's just, you know, we're just killing each other's units at this point. And so, you know, I'm, you know, trying to sacrifice some units, and I'm able to effectively kill his first, you know, his one giant finally. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Um,
It
and
cost you a lot of units, though.
it did cost me a lot of units. Getting some more upgrades, training a lot more units, just to continue to apply the pressure. And I see Chris, you know, he gets his first knight. And I'm like, well, wow, it's turn 14. It's a, you know, maybe a little early for a knight, you know. So I'm like, okay, I just need to like space my units and not give them, you know,
Yeah.
any good chains.
Yeah.
In which I do space my units quite a bit. I make sure he can't like reach all the way back here to my riders, but I don't leave any good chains here. Like if he does want to like, you know, hit this warrior and then chain 3, he's only going to kill, you know, 2 units at best. Just, you know, keep on training units, and I end up getting farming here to get another giant up in the north. I don't know. I don't know if this was the right play. Like, I didn't really need to get a giant here to secure this village. I could have just probably, you know, kept on, you know, throwing units at it, and I probably would have finally gotten it. Um, so yeah, I don't know if that was a right good play or not, but I did do it. And he ends up going mining smithery. And I see he
Interesting.
has swords.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, he has knights and swords. And I'm like, what did he get? Like, did he get like a ruin? Like, he get like a smith rune or something? Like, I don't know. Like, it's crazy. He's getting, this man has like the whole entire tech tree, it feels like. Um, and so, see, you know, my capital is extremely, extremely weak here. And I realize it. And, you know, I do kill a couple of his units. But, you know, I do get a very nice siege here. I get a veteran warrior on that siege, which is nice.
Nice.
He does end up, you know, chaining all those units there, of course. Veterans his knight. And he does siege my capital here.
Yeah, he's preparing to unsiege his capital.
That's not enough units though. It's
Yeah.
not enough. He's gonna lose his capital.
Hmm.
I think he did use Poly's calculator because it might just be.
Oh, he got it.
Yep.
He got it.
And climbing right now.
He's gonna get
But
mining to go ahead and giant push as the last resort. So yeah, he has got a plan in mind.
He had
but
just
he
enough.
still has that monument, right?
Just any.
No, he used it. He does not have the monument.
Oh, look at that knight.
Knight with the clutch.
He's going into the
He's
calculator.
opening up
He's
calculator.
doing the calculator. He's doing the calculator. Oh my gosh. I love it. He's doing the calculator.
no.
It's just a
He's
panic.
out of turn.
Why didn't he do it before? Why didn't he do it before?
Oh.
No! Oh no! No, he's not gonna have enough. No! No!
That's a complete misplay.
Oh wow.
Well, good thing he has the backup of having the mining.
Yeah, he got.
Because it would be hella embarrassing if he just lost his capital. Wait a second, he trained the unit. He doesn't have enough. Oh my god. No.
He only has 8 stars after he buys mining.
No, he can't.
Can he chop? Can he chop?
Mining, he hasn't got it. No, he's just too short. He's literally a few stars too short.
If he
should
hadn't,
not have trained the warrior.
if he hadn't,
He
gotten-
hadn't.
Oh.
Because he just lost the game to Chris. Oh. Wait, I think he could have won it if we went /O though.
And this is where I make a fatal error.
Oh, this was so painful to watch.
So there was there's a actual like calculator that you can plug in your units into and see whether you can kill a unit or not. And there's a difference between each command. /B is how many units it takes to kill a unit, how much damage it's gonna do. And instead I do /C instead of /O. And the major difference is if I did /O and I could have saw the correct order to use my units and to actually be able to unsiege and kill his giant here.
Yes.
The correct move was to hit with my giant first.
Yes.
And then use my units to kill the giant. But I end up using my giant last. And it ends up costing me the game here. If I wouldn't have went for this giant over here with my monument, which I didn't really need, of course, I would have been able to actually knock him off my capital. If I had that monument, I can't hold. I miscalculated on the capital.
Miscalculation. It was just a miscalculation.
Yeah.
Well,
and so
as traumatic as that was, I appreciate you talking me through it. It was a really interesting game to watch too.
Yeah. It was definitely a very fun game, definitely had my ups and downs, with that, explorer discovering I had literally no villages on the side of the map. And then, being able to, get those 2 villages up in the north and, getting a really like comfortable position. But other than that, it was a great game.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again for taking me through it. This was good.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps us a lot. You can find a link to the live broadcast of this game from the Bullet Tournament and a link to the game replay in the description. Join the PolyChampions Discord. Get on a team. The link to the Discord server is also in the description. Take care. See you on the next one.